In eastern Ukraine, something has clearly changed. After months of bloody stalemates and slow Russian advances, Ukrainian forces are finally moving forward again. The latest operations in Donetsk, particularly around Pokrovsk and Dobropelya, mark a turning point. Ukrainian units have punched through Russian defenses, retaken key villages, and inflicted major losses that Moscow can't easily replace. Reports confirm the liberation of multiple settlements in the Pokrovsk-Dobropelya corridor, including the village of Suketska, where Ukraine's 82nd Air Assault Brigade wiped out a Russian patrol group, 44 killed, 8 wounded, and 9 captured. The attack was described as fast, precise, and decisive. In just 10 days, Ukraine has liberated more than 70 square miles of territory and cleared nearly 100 additional square miles of Russian presence. Over 1,700 Russian troops were killed, wounded, or captured in that period, and more than 70 pieces of equipment destroyed. Since stabilizing this sector in August, the total Russian losses have climbed past 15,000 troops and over 1,000 vehicles and artillery systems. These numbers are significant because they're happening in one of the most contested parts of the front. Pokrovsk is strategically vital. It sits on key transport routes and controls supply lines across the Donetsk region. For Russia, taking Pokrovsk would have been the gateway to consolidating its occupation. For Ukraine, holding it keeps their defenses intact and their logistics flowing. Dobropelya, about 13 miles north, anchors the defensive line. Together, they form a network that allows Ukraine to control artillery fire, drone operations, and resupply routes throughout Donetsk. Losing one would expose the other, but holding both keeps Russian advances in check. What's making this possible is not just bravery, it's technology. Ukraine's drone production has exploded, growing nearly tenfold in a year. They're now making around 200,000 drones per month, including advanced fiber optic and AI-guided models that can operate beyond Russian jamming. Domestic production and partnerships with NATO countries like Romania and Denmark mean Ukraine can sustain the fight even without constant Western supply. Russia, on the other hand, is struggling to maintain manpower and morale. Putin's government has called up over 135,000 new conscripts, but desertion rates are rising fast. Economic strain is also showing. Defense spending is being trimmed for the first time since the invasion, and payments to wounded soldiers and families of the dead are being cut sharply. Russia is paying more to attract recruits but offering less support to those already fighting. It's a dangerous imbalance that's beginning to show at the front. Diplomatically, Russia is also losing ground. Planned peace talks between Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump fell apart after Moscow refused to show flexibility on territorial demands. That collapse undercuts Russia's hope of freezing the conflict on favorable terms. Meanwhile, Ukraine's battlefield progress strengthens its hand. Each reclaimed village shifts the political balance. The situation remains fluid, but momentum has clearly tilted. Ukraine is regaining ground, degrading Russian forces, and proving it can sustain operations independently. Russia still holds large parts of Donetsk, but the cost of keeping them is rising fast. The war isn't over, but for the first time in months, the direction of the fight is unmistakable, and it's pointing east.